Leave her alone. Fans defend Hye Kyo. Imagine walking onto a red carpet at 44 and instantly becoming the most debated face in an entire nation. Not for your film, not for your speech, but for the simple crime of having laugh lines that dare to appear when you smile. That is exactly what happened to Hye Kyo on the evening of the 2025 Blue Dragon Film Awards, an event that should have celebrated Korean cinema, but instead turned into a merciless public autopsy of one woman's skin. From the moment she stepped out in an elegant ivory gown that seemed to glow under the flashbulbs, South Korean social media exploded. Within minutes, her name shot to the top of every portal, every community forum, every group chat. The photos spread like wildfire. Some captured her radiant from afar. Others cruelly zoomed until individual pores became evidence in an unspoken trial. To many, she looked breathtaking, the same ethereal beauty who once made an entire generation fall in love with her through tear-soaked dramas. Her eyes still carried that quiet melancholy that broke hearts 2 decades ago, and the soft lighting gave her an almost porcelain luminescence that felt timeless. One viral clip of her gently laughing on the red carpet collected millions of hearts because, for a fleeting second, she looked exactly like the girl from Autumn in My Heart, only wiser, warmer, more human. Yet, the internet, being the merciless place it is, also produced the exact opposite reaction at lightning speed. Screenshots were cropped, brightness was altered, angles were chosen with surgical precision to highlight every line that time has etched around her eyes and mouth. Comments poured in like acid. This is not the Hye Kyo I know. She aged 10 years in one. Why doesn't she just get work done like everyone else? Some netizens went as far as creating side-by-side comparisons with her 20-year-old self, as if expecting biology to pause out of loyalty to their nostalgia. Laugh lines became deep nasolabial folds. Faint creases on her forehead became permanent wrinkles, and the gentle softening of her jawline was labeled sagging. The cruelty was astonishing in its detail. People who likely flinch at a paper cut spent hours dissecting a stranger's face they claimed to adore. What made the backlash feel particularly vicious was how personal it became. It wasn't enough to say she looked older. Critics needed to prove she had somehow betrayed them. "I feel cheated," one highly upvoted comment read. "She was supposed to stay young forever." Another wrote, "If she can't maintain her face, she shouldn't appear in public." The entitlement was staggering, as if her beauty had been a public utility they paid for with their viewership, and now the contract was broken. But then something beautiful happened. Her fans, many of whom have literally grown up with her, fought back with a ferocity that drowned the hate. They flooded every platform with reminders that Hye Kyo is 44, not 24, and that human skin is allowed to move when a human feels joy. They posted slow-motion clips of her smile, not to hide the lines, but to celebrate them, arguing that those very lines are proof she has lived, laughed, cried real tears on set and off. One widely shared post read, "Those laugh lines appeared because she spent years making us feel every emotion under the sun. The least we can do is let her smile in peace." What gives the defense extra weight is that Hye Kyo herself has never pretended otherwise. She has spent the last few years speaking about aging with a disarming honesty that feels revolutionary in an industry built on the denial of time. Long before this awards show controversy, she sat across from interviewers and said the quiet parts out loud. She told Elle that yes, of course she looks older, because she is older, and that realization doesn't frighten her, it liberates her. On variety shows, she has laughed at her own reflection next to 20-something co-stars, openly admitting that the camera now catches things it never used to. Most powerfully, she has repeated again and again that her value as an actress no longer rests on looking eternally 25. "I have to act well now," she said with a smile that acknowledged both the challenge and the freedom of that truth. That shift in priority is perhaps the most fascinating part of her journey. For years, Hye Kyo was the face that launched 1,000 beauty ads, the living embodiment of the flawless Korean ideal. Brands paid fortunes for a single glance from those doe eyes. Yet somewhere along the way, almost imperceptibly, she began choosing roles that demanded she look tired, broken, angry, vengeful, anything but pretty. She buried herself in the darkness of revenge thrillers, let her hair go unstyled in quiet character studies, allowed tears to smudge what little makeup she wore. Critics who once dismissed her as just a pretty face suddenly found themselves praising the raw power of her performances. Audiences who grew up sighing over her beauty now sit in theaters holding their breath as she destroys lives on screen with a whisper. And maybe that's why the current backlash feels so painfully outdated. The woman they are zooming in on, the one whose pores they count like sins, has already moved on from the game they're still playing. While keyboard warriors debate whether she should have Botox, she is somewhere memorizing lines for her next project, one that will probably ask her to age even more visibly on camera. While forums argue over lighting and angles, she is likely laughing with friends, creating new laugh lines without apology. There is a particular kind of grace in watching someone refuse to freeze themselves for public consumption. Hye Kyo could have disappeared into the safe fortress of fillers and filters that so many of her peers retreat to the moment a wrinkle threatens their brand. Instead, she walks straight into the storm, head high, knowing full well the close-ups will be unkind, trusting that the work will speak louder than the skin it's wrapped in. And slowly, almost against the internet's will, that trust is being rewarded. Younger fans, especially women in their 20s and 30s, have started posting their own unfiltered selfies with captions like, "Aging like Hye Kyo," turning what was meant as shade into a badge of honor. At its core, this entire episode is less about one actress's face and more about a culture grappling with what it means to watch its icons grow older in real time. For 2 decades, Hye Kyo was the fantasy, the perfect ending to every love story, the girl who never had to wake up from the dream. Now, she is something far more radical, a woman who insists the story continues long after the fairy tale credits roll. And if the price of that continuation is a few visible lines when she smiles, well, perhaps that is the most beautiful plot twist of all. So the next time a merciless close-up circulates, maybe pause before joining the chorus. Look instead at the eyes above those debated lines. They are the same eyes that made millions believe in love, in revenge, in second chances. They have seen marriages begin and end, friends lost and found, an entire career reinvented. They have earned every story they tell when they crinkle at the edges. And if we can learn to see the life in them instead of searching for the absence of youth, we might finally give Hye Kyo the one thing she has never asked for, but richly deserves: the freedom to age as gloriously as she has lived.